So you've got a victim, a villain, and a hero. How do you know which one you are? When I'm in victim, my mind is saying, poor me, look what they did to me. It's not my fault. Why is this happening to me?
And these are not easy things to admit, but in order to change our lives, we have to take accountability and ownership.
Right, so victim is not doing any of that. The next one, villain, they are always blaming someone. And then the other one, the hero, it's not like the kind of hero that you want to be, like Superman. It's more like a martyr, like, oh, after all I did for you, I did all this for you. You can literally be all three in one sentence.
Welcome back to Create Your Fate. I'm life coach Meg Ellis, here to help you create your best life ever, beginning with your mind. Today, I have a special treat for you. One of my dearest friends, founder of Complete Midlife Wellness Center, Dr. Susan Hardwick-Smith, is back on my show today in our new studio. Thank you for coming back.
I'm so excited to be here, and I love your new studio.
Thank you. Yes, definitely different than the past. We're getting a little glow up here. We're growing, right?
Awesome.
So, and you have a podcast as well, so you're used to podcasting.
Yes, it's always an adventure. It's a live show. Never know what's going to happen.
You never know what's going to happen. Never know. I know, it's always a surprise.
That's right.
And I love when we come on, we just wing it sometimes, you know?
This is just two friends having a chat.
Two friends having a chat. I like that. And today we're going to be sharing something called a drama triangle with you guys. Susan, I think we did it on our retreat in Costa Rica.
We did. We played with the drama triangle last November. We'll tell you about the next retreat, actually. We'll play with it again. It's this really great model. I learned about it about 10 years ago when I was doing my coach training. I will tell you I didn't invent it, so I want to credit the appropriate people. So it was invented by a guy named Stephen Karpman back in the 60s, originally for organizational psychology. So it describes this really unhealthy way of handling conflict, basically. But since it's been morphed into different scenarios that are more appropriate maybe to personal development or personal relationships. So I really love the way it's presented by the Conscious Leadership Group. You can check out their book called The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. That's some training that I did that was so mind-blowing. So the Conscious Leadership Group uses the drama triangle to describe unhealthy relationships, not only with other people in business, but also with yourself. So it's a really cool model, and we've played with it a lot, right? It's fun.
Well, yes, we did it on the retreat. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to do this on a podcast episode. The people have to know about the drama triangle. It is, it's life-changing. Really, it's this consciousness of the drama that we oftentimes create for ourselves.
Yeah, so a little bit of a setup just to understand. We're playing a game, right? So whenever there's a game, there's some rules to understand. So we could talk about this for hours, but I'm going to tell your listeners just a few things that'll help them understand how to play the drama triangle game. So first of all, imagine there's a horizontal line, just with your eyes. There's a space above that line and a space below the line. Now, really important, it's not better to be above or worse to be below. The idea is that we just locate ourselves. And how do we do that? Well, above the line is all of the qualities you might think of as your best self, maybe your highest vibration when you're talking about the law of energy that you love so much, and I love that too. Yeah. So I like a lot of words that start with C, like curiosity, calm, compassion, creativity. You can imagine others, like generosity, all the things that you
love,
all the good stuff.
Peace, yeah,
exactly. In fact, everything above the line you could really sum up as love, right? Broken down into its different components. But even just using those words, you feel like, oh, this feels good.
Yeah, you
here,
can even
right?
feel the energetic vibration behind them. Like it just feels good when you say all these words.
Yeah. So being above the line is a state, right? I'm not going to say it's good or bad because we just want to know where we are. Now, when we're below the line, we have kind of opposite qualities showing up, and we all have these every day, so no judgment. Blame, being right, being sure that your opinion is the only one, being really fixed in your stance, like I am so sure this is right and they are wrong, and blah, 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 all the things, right?
I have never been that way in my entire life.
I was like that this morning.
I'm clearly
we can
joking.
talk about that. And so just recognizing that as human beings with no judgment, we exist mostly below the line. In fact, I would say most people, including myself, prior to learning about this, pretty much lived below the line as just a way of being. And it kind of is, frankly, the American culture. It's like we're very much our politics, our media, everything encourages us to live in these spaces of being very righteous about something, whether it's what we believe or who should do what or they should do this or all of that, right? Well, it doesn't feel very good. Just even when I use those words, it feels sort of tight.
Yes. Yeah,
and
you can feel that
restricted.
energy. Ooh.
Yeah, low energy. So in the game, we know there's a space above, there's a space below, and the first step is to locate yourself, and this is where the self-awareness part comes in, to be able to say, I'm below the line right now. Now, I'm not saying it's bad or good, it just here is where I am.
Just accept it.
Right, so right now I'm below the line, and then another part of the game is the idea that we can shift. So we can shift above the line using some of the techniques and questions that we'll play with, because it's a game. It's fun.
Yeah.
So nothing
it is
about,
really fun.
Yeah. So one of the cool things I love about this is sometimes this sort of work can be like, oh my God, I'm so serious. Like I'm trying to fix myself, or I've got to be a better person. It's so hard. This is literally a game. It's fun. Like you recognize where you are, and if you're above the line, awesome, carry on. If you're below the line, ask yourself if you're willing to shift, and we can play with that. Now, another part to it, because I'm in intimacy world, right? So I'm a doctor, but I'm also a coach, and I do a lot of work with relationships, specifically intimate relationships, sexual relationships. So one of the things we did on our retreat, and really important to know in context of this game, is that when I'm below the line, and I'm just going to say, when you're in a drama triangle, you're always below the line. So let's just know that off the get-go.
Right.
We're not able to connect, because if you get into that feeling again, okay, I'm below the line, we're really armored up. We're super defended because I'm right, you're wrong, you're to blame, and I'm the one who's going to have to fix it, and blah, 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 all of that stuff. We've got all this armor, and part of the game is understanding when we're wearing armor, we cannot connect, right? Because I've got a metal suit on. You can't get in. So in order to connect, if that's our goal in relationships or even with ourselves, we want to shift out of that armored space so that we can connect. So it really dovetails in with intimacy, relationships, problem solving.
Right.
And first of all, just awareness, because we've got to go, first of all, where am I? So that's the very short version of the rules of the game, and then we could try and play
I certainly have a couple of examples of being caught in a drama triangle, and I love your visual of this armor, and you cannot connect, and I see this triangle where you're just kind of pinging, from little, it's not a corner, what is it? It's
corners of the triangle. So let's talk about the triangle. We haven't defined that yet.
Yes.
Because there's so many fun things to know. All right, so the game says there are 3 players in this triangle. There don't have to be 3 people, though. I can be all 3 in one sentence. I'll show you how that works. So all 3 of these players are literally inside your own head. Now, you could be in a drama triangle with 1 person or with 2. It doesn't require 3, because the triangle just simply states of mind in your own head. So the 3 players in the game in your head are the victim, the villain, or some people call the persecutor, and the hero, or some people call the rescuer. So you've got a victim, a villain, and a hero in this game, right? So how do you know which one you are? Well, when I'm in victim mode, my mind is saying, poor me, look what they did to me. It's not my fault. It's like the world is happening to me. Why is this happening to me? It's not fair, right? Ooh. It's all happening to me. It's completely powerless, right? So the victim, if you're not sure what you are and you're feeling powerless and everything's happening to you and it's not fair and it's not your fault, you're in victim mode.
I think we can all relate to victim mode, or I know we can all relate to identifying somebody else in victim mode.
Yeah.
Right? It's always easier to identify other people, but, I can take some ownership. I know I've been in victim mode before.
Well, let me tell you an example that happens most days. You can be in victim mode driving your car. Why are there all these cars? Why is this happening to me?
This guy cut me off.
Right. Why am I in this traffic, even though it's 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon? It's not fair. That traffic's happening to me.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
It could be something that small.
Right. Or this person cut in front of me in line, or this person.
Yeah, why did they do that? Why is it raining? Why is it raining on my hair? I just got my hair done.
Right.
It can sound
Yeah, why is this happening to me?
Right?
Yeah, so anything that's like, oh, this is happening to me, or they did this to me, that's
I've got
victim
no
mode.
power. Yeah, it's not. I have no agency in this. It's all poor me.
Kind of pity party
But
almost.
I can't, why did this happen?
And these are not easy things to admit. But again, you
Right.
can't change anything if you don't know it's there. So identifying where you are on this line, right, below or above
Yeah.
it, and if you are in this drama triangle, it's like, hey, in order to change our lives, we have to take accountability and ownership.
Right, so a victim is not doing any of that, right? Okay, what about the next one, the persecutor or villain? They are always in blaming someone. So if you feel yourself blaming someone, I can't believe they did that to me. That's their fault. It's they did this, they did that. You're in persecutor mode or villain. I like the word villain.
Yeah,
'Cause
I like
you
villain
just feel
too.
like a villain. Like you're
Right.
you're
Everybody knows what a
blaming.
villain is. Ooh, yeah.
Right. So the victim has all this stuff happening to them, and so I like to ham it up. It makes it more funny. Aw, poor me. And the villain's like, can I use bad words on this
Yes,
podcast?
yes.
Okay. It's like, that fucking asshole. I can't believe he did that
Right.
character.
Right.
And then the other one, this is my favorite because I spend a lot of time in the hero or rescuer mode. It's not like the kind of hero that you want to be, like Superman. It's more like a martyr, like, oh, after all I did for you, I did all this for you. Well, fine, I'll just fix it then. I'm just going to fix it because
Like I
you're-
always do.
like I always fix it, and fine, I'll just do that then because that's just what I do, and you can't do it, so I'm going to rescue you and do it for you. I think of it like giving candy to a baby. It's a quick fix that is not solving the problem in any way. So, gosh, lots of ways that we do this, right? We do something quickly to put out the fire when ultimately it's just making things worse because we're not allowing the other person to learn what they need to grow, what have you. So that's probably my favorite of all the characters because I spend a lot of time in hero martyr mode. Like, oh, especially I have kids, right? After all I did for them, after they did this, and then I can go into victim, and then they did that to me, and
I can't believe they did that.
see, you were all three in one sentence.
So you can bat around to each one in the same situation.
Yes, so we just did that. Let's listen to this sentence. This is a live show. We just made this one up. You can literally be all three in one sentence regarding my three kids. After all I did for them, I gave them my whole life. And then they went ahead and they didn't even pick up their clothes, like goddamn little shitheads. But I'll just do it for them because that's fine. I always do.
Victim, villain, rescuer.
Right, and then how could this happen to me? Because I was a good mom. I mean, why should they do this to me?
Back to victim.
Right,
oh yeah,
so
that's easy to.
Yeah,
like,
so that was an
around.
example. You don't need three people. You don't even need three sentences. You can bounce around a bunch of drama in one sentence. So when you start recognizing the feelings and words that go along with those characters, it does get kind of funny.
Right.
Which is, I think, a great place to start self-awareness work is with a little bit of levity because life is, we're pretty funny, really. Like, let's just not take things so seriously. And from that place, we can see, oh, wow, yeah, I am being kind of stupid here. Let's see if we can shift to a place that's happier.
Yeah.
Because that character, that mom who's spinning out of control like maybe I was doing, that's not a happy place to exist for myself, nor is it for my kids. And it's certainly not going to create a good relationship with the family. That was just an example we made up.
Right. Well, and taking that personal responsibility and that power, taking your power back. I am mad right now. And I don't want to be mad.
Yeah.
That's that below the line, right? Which is the opposite of love is fear, all these fear-based decisions. And we can get into that, later. But if it's all these negative emotions, you are not going to end up feeling all these positive emotions from love above the line if you can't. Law of attraction says you attract on the level that you vibrate at. So if you are below the line with all these negative emotions of blame and anger, it's like you're not going to attract a happy life. You have to be willing to shift. So should we hop into an example?
Yeah, we kind of did it. We kind of did one, but let's do one. I always like to do, that was an imaginary one. I'll tell you, I don't have that going on in my family at the moment, although it has in the past. But when I'm doing this with people, I usually encourage them to pick something that's literally on your mind right now. Don't try to make up something grand.
Yeah.
Like, what's something that's literally on your mind right now? So there was a scenario that literally happened this morning that I could do as a game for you.
Yes. So, and then I'll identify who it is.
Yes, so
you know?
so Meg's going to help me by asking me, and this might be something you do either with yourself in the mirror or with a friend who's willing to play the game with you. Tell me your story in like 20 seconds, but with no drama, no emotion, which is hard.
So just facts, no feelings. And I'm going to be over here being like, nope, nope, that's a feeling.
Just facts.
So straight facts.
Yes, it is hard.
30 seconds or less.
Yeah, if you have a drama story, it's very hard to tell it in a way that's facts. So some things I say is, think about it. It has to be something a video camera could record that nobody could refute. It's just straight facts, so no emotion, no adjectives about good or bad or anything, just facts.
Right.
Okay, let's see if I can do it.
Okay, yeah. So 30 seconds, facts only. Tell us your story of what happened.
Okay, I am an employer.
Fact.
I have, by nature of that, employees. One of my employees has been with me for 10 years. So I'm going to side note, I was going to say many years or a long time. That's not a fact. Like, that's emotional. She's been with me for 10 years. 3 months ago, I was going to say recently, but I'll be factual. 3 months ago, I gave her a specific task to give me my schedule every day, the day before the day, right? So, for example, today happens to be a Monday. Her task was to give that schedule to me on Friday. That's the end of my facts.
Fact. That's the end of the facts. And it's kind of funny because if you think about it, if you just tell the story just with the facts, it's like, okay,
so
that's
what?
it.
That's
yeah.
it.
Okay,
right.
Those are the facts. And even hearing you try to tell the story with no feelings,
Yeah,
it's like
it's hard.
That's the story. Your employee of 10 years did not give you what you requested.
I didn't even say that, but you're inferring that.
Oh, see, now
right.
I think I'm stirring your pot. I don't even know the story.
Right. Yes, but you can see where this is going. Okay.
Right. Okay. So those are the facts. So now
Yes.
we hop into the triangle.
Yes.
So tell us what your drama triangle was with this very factual, short, the situation.
Yes, and so I'll add to that. Nobody knows about this except me. I haven't talked to her about it or anything. The drama triangle is 100% in my head, and I encourage people to say it as if they have had 5 drinks and they are telling their friend at the bar, and they're maybe 18 years old.
And maybe like embellishing a little,
yeah,
as
just
we
like
do.
Go nuts and act really crazy. Okay. And I can use bad words.
You can use bad words.
Okay,
so
perfect.
warning, bad words coming.
Because it works better with bad words.
Yeah.
I'm such a fucking great employer. I pay these people more than they could get anywhere, and they do nothing for me. Victim and villain.
Okay.
Kind of
Yeah,
both.
I was like, okay, which one is that?
Yeah,
Sounds
it's sort of
like
both.
it was like victim villain, yeah.
I was sort of all 3. They do nothing for me. I mean, the entire front desk at my office is fucking useless. They can't get their job done. I give them these really simple tasks, and then basically they're so simple. I just have to do it myself. I mean, I have to double check everything they're doing.
Rescuer.
Right?
Yeah, the
because
hero.
They can't even. They're so careless, they can't even double check their work. And I'm telling you, if I had a boss, like this is what I would do, because in my hero mode, if my boss gave me a specific task, I would be so careful and I would do it really well and I would be careful. But they don't even care enough to double check their work. So I got this schedule today that was wrong. I mean, if I had followed that schedule, I would have been late. I would have made the patient late. And that wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault that I would have come in late because she sent me the schedule wrong, and I don't even know what to do. I mean, I've done everything for this lady. I even gave her a raise.
Back into rescuer, yeah.
I've done everything. I've gotten her coaching. I even helped her family when her daughter was sick. I mean, I've done so much for her, and she can't even care enough to just do this one little job that I give her. She just doesn't even care about me. In fact, I don't think she even cares about our patients. I think she just doesn't care about anything.
Back to victim.
Right, and blaming everybody. And so I just think I don't even think I can have a conversation with her anymore. I think this relationship's just finished. I think I'm just going to solve it by just having to end the relationship.
Villain.
Yeah, and hero too. I'm solving the problem.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so that's my drama.
So yeah, even hearing you tell the story, very different from the 30-second version
Right.
of facts. You can, even just from a screener, just listening to this, you can feel the energy difference.
Yeah, I feel awful right now even saying that. Like I
Yeah.
got all full of adrenaline and
And
my
your
heart
body, you
rate
can
was
even tell your body
higher.
changes,
Right, right. And frankly, how likely is that attitude going to solve this relationship issue that this person and I have? Well, she doesn't even know about it, first of all. It's all in
Right.
my head.
Yeah,
Right?
right. And if you're like me, if things stay in your head longer, they get worse.
Yes.
And then you just add on to it, and I think sometimes we know we're being a little dramatic and we kind of feel guilty about it.
For sure.
So then we make it even worse to make ourselves feel better.
Yes, and so here's something that I've realized, which is kind of funny. How do you know when you're in a drama triangle? Because sometimes you're just in the middle of it, and you're not even thinking clearly, and you don't realize until an hour later, and you're out the other side. One tip for me is I can feel it in my chest. Like when I was telling you that story, I could feel tightness.
Yeah.
So a tip, if you're telling a story to yourself or a friend, and you're feeling tightness, and your voice is getting elevated, and you're starting to point and wave your arms around.
Red in the face.
Right, you're in a drama triangle. Another way I know I'm in a drama triangle is because when you're in drama, you want to have support. And so I'm telling my friend, I'm calling Meg, I'm calling my friends, can you believe she did this? And I call that your imaginary army. You want to get your imaginary army on your side. So they're like, yeah, she sucks, and I agree with you, and you're right, and I hate her too.
Right. It's like we make it worse by getting more people involved, right? So now more people are in negative energy, and you're like, yeah, let's make this worse. Making this worse is going to make me feel better about it. And it's like, what? How?
Yeah. So the trick is to catch yourself, or if you have a really good friend like Meg, would be like, you're in a drama triangle. That's a lovely friend to have, or just to be able to catch yourself. Like if you're recruiting your imaginary army to help you, or if you're starting to feel tight in your chest. And remember we talked about the barrier to intimacy. I am starting to get more and more into an us versus them situation. Like they are stupid and I'm over here. Like the division is just growing. And so if we're talking about intimacy, trying to be more connected, it's like the opposite of connection. You're getting further and further apart. Now my whole front desk is stupid and I'm over here being right. And the gap between us is growing.
Right.
Rather
more
than
distance.
Right. Rather than healing
it's harder
the problem.
to connect.
Oh, it's so unhelpful. So rather than healing this potential disconnect in my office, I'm literally making it worse by actually emotionally becoming further apart because I'm right and they're wrong. And so that could play out in a personal relationship too, where you're so like you're on opposite sides of the bed, right? I'm right, you're wrong, and that intimacy is just being completely prevented.
Right.
So if we can stop and see where we are, and so Meg's going to ask me some questions. This is where it's something sometimes you might have to do after the fact, kind of go back over it again historically, because in the moment it can get out of control.
Yes,
right?
yeah. Well, it is, you say it's a game and it's fun, it's lighthearted, and when you go back and you revisit it, you can make light of it, and it does make it better. And I've done this with the guy I'm dating, where we've gotten into it before, and at a certain point in time, you can kind of shift, right? And you can kind of play along and be like, wow, this was kind of silly if you look back, but
in the time it feels so serious.
Yes.
Right. That's another tip off. If it feels really serious, so that's another one. Does this feel like the most important thing in the world?
Yeah.
Because I promise you it isn't. It's not.
It's consuming. That negative energy is very consuming, and it's hard to let that go. And here's the thing too, is most of the time you're probably in a drama triangle with people who you care about.
Yeah, with intimacy, intimate relationships or close relationships, people we care about the most do, we always say people don't trigger us, but we get triggered by those feelings because if we don't care, they're not going to affect us that way, right?
Right. So it's like I could identify 3 drama triangles that I've recently been in with my boyfriend, my best friend, and my sister.
Right.
Like, these are all people who I want to continue relationships with.
Yeah.
And get back into that, good feeling vibration. And I think even remembering, hey, we're on the same team.
Right.
Helps,
yeah.
But
Yeah, especially if you're in a family or in a relationship or in the same office, right?
Right.
Our goal ultimately is to mend conflict, not to make it worse.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not to make light if your drama feels very serious. I know it feels very serious at the time,
Uh-huh.
but at some point in the future it won't.
Right.
Which gets us to these questions because they're
Yes,
not.
yes.
We're recognizing that our story is not always true. So first of all, the
Right,
location.
they're just stories.
Yeah. So you're going to ask me these questions.
Yes. So going back to your conflict at work with your
Yes,
employee.
in my conflict with my employee that's in my head.
Yes.
Yeah.
First question. Can you locate yourself right now? Are you above or below the line?
Oh, I am way, 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 way below the line
And how do you know?
because I can feel tightness in my chest. I'm fixed on being right. I have no curiosity about how to solve this. I want to blame her for everything. And I want to recruit my imaginary army and tell all my friends about it so they agree with me.
Right. Okay. So those are really good ways to identify.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whew, I'm feeling the heat here.
All right.
You know, yeah, those are really good ways to identify, yes, I'm below the line here, but I don't want to stay below the line, right? I want to get back up to high energy. So here's the second question. Is there, your story that you have, your imaginary dramatic triangle in your head, is there a plausible opposite story?
Yes, so an opposite story to the story of, and sometimes I have to put this in one sentence, the story of everybody at my front desk is stupid and they don't care about me. I'll just summarize it that way.
Right.
That's the title of my story. A plausible opposite story could be, now important, you don't have to believe it, it just has to be plausible to somebody. Could be this person's got something going on at home that's preventing her from concentrating. Maybe her dog died. Maybe she has dyslexia or a brain tumor. Maybe she wasn't trained well enough. Maybe she's overworked and she's got a lot more phone calls coming in than I'm aware of, and she was just trying to rush this out quickly because she was on the phone taking care of a patient. Could be a bunch of other scenarios like that.
Right. Yeah, but those all sound very plausible.
They're plausible.
You know?
Don't have to believe them, but they're certainly possible, right?
Right. And so this part of the, awareness, it's just making you believe that your story might not be true.
Might not be true. Now, sometimes I'll be talking to someone and they're like, well, I'm pretty certain it's true. I'm like, well, okay, how about, is there like a 1% chance it could not be true? And we can always get to if there's a tiny, tiny 1 in a million chance that it's not true, at least it's possible that it's not true, right? It just gives
Yeah.
it just loosens up on this like certainty that I'm right.
Right, right. Okay, so this story that you've created, right, the original one, can you see how holding this story is causing you to suffer?
Yes, I feel like shit when I'm in this story.
Yeah, you're angry.
I'm angry. My chest hurts. I'm getting a headache just talking about it, and I'm suffering because I'm in the office where there's a broken relationship. Yeah, it's a bunch of pile of suffering.
Yeah, then you don't want to go in and talk to that person.
Right, I don't even want to see her in the hallway. I mean,
Yeah.
terrible, huge pile of suffering. Nothing good about it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So, yeah, can you see how the story is causing you to suffer? And then next question, what would happen or who would you be if you let go of this story?
Yeah, well, if I let go of the story, I wouldn't have any of those feelings. I wouldn't feel tight in my chest. My voice even changed thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'd feel more peaceful. I'd feel more open. I'd be much more curious to know what's actually going on up there. If I could be more helpful, yeah, that would be really good.
Yeah, you can even feel the energy shift.
Right.
I can feel it. So the last question is, are you willing to shift and let go of your story, let go of being right, let go of that blame? Are you willing to shift to above the line?
Yeah, so this is a really good question. And I'll tell you the true answer to that is, well, I want to, but ... So where I am at the current moment is no, I'm not willing to shift right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I think we want to move away from thinking that shifting is what we need to shift right now. Because if I said, oh, yeah, I'm willing to shift, I'm going to go back there this afternoon and shift. I call that spiritual bypass. We're like jumping over the problem. We're not working through it. The true answer is I'm not quite willing to shift yet. I'm still holding on to my being pissed off about it because my schedule today got fucked up because she did something wrong. I'm not quite willing to shift yet. Now, in time, it takes some time. So we have to give ourselves time to work through those feelings. I want to, just not quite willing to let go of it just yet. So I'm going to think about that again tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the next day. And at some point, hopefully, I'll be willing to shift. But some of the questions to know if you really are willing, because you might be, oh, yeah, I'll shift.
Right.
Are you truly willing to give up being right about, no, I'm not. I do think I was right. She did fuck that up. And Are you willing to give up blame? No, not yet. I still think she was wrong and it was her fault.
Yeah.
Are you willing to be curious, looking for a possible other answer? Yeah, kind of. So I'm sort of halfway.
Right, you're getting there.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said about if, that spiritual bypass, which I love. Most of the time, if you're like, oh, yeah, I can shift, no problem, you're probably just stuffing things down,
Right.
which end up coming back up later with a vengeance because,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just ignoring it. I'm not going to deal with it at all. I'm just going to stuff it down and pretend like it didn't happen at all, which is
Yeah.
also not what you want to do here.
Right. No. So that's not going to be helpful long term, of course. So I think that the game is really great and super important to remember because it took me a while to get this. Being above the line isn't better and being below isn't worse. It's acknowledging where you are. That's really the superpower, to be able to say, I am below the line. And I'll just say, I am below the line on this issue right now, and I am not willing to shift. That is my truth right now. But it even feels peaceful to say that because I know where I am. Okay.
You've identified your story.
Yeah, and I've sort of dropped the story for the most part. I'm not buried in the story because I've recognized it. I've recognized I'm in a drama triangle, so I'm below the line, and I'm not willing to shift. That's a much more peaceful feeling than she can't, blah, 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 just being, so taken away by it. So
Yeah.
it loses its power once you start describing it and naming it. It's still there, but it's not so powerful.
Right. You're not identifying it as truth and the ultimate truth. You've identified it as a story. And that even itself is a shift,
Yeah, for sure. So I think I love the idea that if you know what you're saying is not capital T true, because you've recognized that there's at least a 1% chance something else could be true, that just sort of flattens it, doesn't it? It's like, oh, shoot, this might not be true. There might be another side that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
So the power just disappears. So it's quite amazing just to say, is there another possible story? That's a Byron Katie thing, by the way, so I don't want to take credit for that either. So this is sort of a mixture of different, very wise minds, this game. So Byron Katie has several questions that are similar to these that you can look up if you haven't done her work. But I think combining them together with the drama triangle just really works for me.
Yeah. No, and that's what it's about. It's about taking things and passing them on, right? For other people to use and get out of their own drama triangles because that is just, it's no way to live. And life can be so beautiful when you are willing to shift above the line and when you've processed things and taken the time to let go of your story, truly, and not just stuffed it down to revisit later, truly process that out to go above the line and come back into that lens of love, right? Because there's so many beautiful things up there. And with that is compassion, right? Compassion for yourself, for being in a drama triangle. Hey, it's okay.
Yeah. One of the cute things we did on our retreat is we would say, "Aw."
Yeah, I love that part.
Like if you're in a drama triangle, you're all mad and we would go, "Oh, you're in a drama triangle." It's like
a little
not
hug.
in a sarcastic way, like that might have sounded, but like, "Oh, that person's suffering. Oh, you're in a drama triangle. Poor Meg. Like, let's give her some love instead of like, sense of anger."
Yeah, because it's so easy to be judgmental about other people's drama triangles too, and your own, right? Anything that you're judgmental about other people about, it's really you're just judging yourself on. But it's so easy to be judgmental of like, oh, well, that person's in a drama triangle with me, which isn't a drama triangle in itself.
That's right. And
let me just boomerang this triangle right back, right?
Oh, yeah, you can't. I can just knowing that this is the state of being for most humans most of the time, right? So if you were, the most enlightened person ever, you're still not above the line all the time. I mean, so that's not even
Right. It's not about being
goal.
above the
It's
line.
knowing.
It's knowing where you are, the
Right.
consciousness
Yeah.
of where I am, and am I willing to shift and
Right.
doing that in the appropriate amount that feels authentic and true to you.
Yeah,
Because
and-
authenticity is the purest, most high vibrational thing out there. So if you say, oh, yeah, I'm willing to shift, but you're not, that's actually still below the line because now you're
totally.
being inauthentic.
Yeah, so true. And then if the this is all the process, right? So I guess there's no goal, so to speak. But if our desire is to build relationships and to mend broken communication and to have a happy workplace, home life,
Yeah.
all of the good things, how am I going to achieve that, say, with this person from below the line? Never will that be possible. But as I'm able to shift, now we can actually come up with resolution, right? And the resolution might be that we mutually decide that she needs to get another job. It doesn't mean the resolution's always like hugs and kisses. It might be, the right answer to this is just not the right role for you. Let's find something else that's more in line with your particular talents. Or it might be we're going to be best friends, or who knows what. But there's no place we can reach any sort of resolution when we're both in a drama triangle.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just a really beautiful idea. Do you want to try to do another one? Do you want to do one?
Oh, I can do one. Yes, I do have a recent one. And
So something that's alive for you right now? 'Cause
something
you wanna...
that's alive for me right now, yes.
Okay, so I'll do the same series
Okay,
of
yes.
questions because it's kind of fun to have a little format to it so you can do it at home or with yourself in the mirror.
Yes. Yeah, we'll go through.
Okay, so my first question is in like 20, 30 seconds, tell me your story with no emotion whatsoever, just facts.
Okay, the facts, and you probably will have to ping me on.
I'll ping you if you
that's-
say something that's
yeah.
not a fact. It has to be irrefutable and you could catch it on video camera.
Okay. My sister texted me saying she was coming to Houston, where I live.
Okay, fact.
She said she was coming with her husband through their company. They were sponsoring a charity event.
Okay, that's a good fact.
The charity event, I'm trying so hard.
It's really
to
hard.
make this, just facts. The charity event is being held by my ex-husband's best friend.
Maybe best friend is...
Is that kind of, okay. My ex-husband's, the charity event is being held by somebody in my ex-husband's circle.
Okay,
Or,
yeah.
you know.
I just said that because someone might be, but I was his best friend, right?
Right.
Has to be
His
irrefutable.
one of his close friends.
Okay, one of his close friends.
Yeah.
That works.
And that's really it for the facts.
Well, that doesn't sound like a big deal. So what
It sure is. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
isn't it funny though how the facts sound they just sound like no big deal. You'd be like, well, that's nice. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Let's hear it from the drama triangle.
Yes, no, this event is being held by this guy. I'm going to call him Tim.
Okay.
Tim is holding this event.
So we're on the drama triangle.
We're
now.
in the drama
All right,
triangle.
so let's go for it.
Tim is holding this event. I'm the one who met Tim first. I'm the one who introduced Tim to my ex-husband.
Sounds like a hero.
Yes. I am the one who introduced my ex-husband to Tim, and me, Tim, my ex-husband, and Tim's wife would hang out every weekend for like 3 years. We were best friends. And the second that I get separated, Tim and his wife don't even reach out. They don't even say hi to me
Aw.
after everything
Aw,
that we had
victim.
been through together
Oh, victim, a bit of hero too.
for 3 years.
Wow. And
For-
villain. Yeah.
For 3 years.
Can't
I don't
believe they
even
did
get
that.
like a, how are you? Sorry your marriage went to shit.
Well, that's bullshit. Villain. See, the imaginary army's getting in the drama over here. Yeah.
Right. You know what? Tim, the same guy who, when I got divorced, I had to show up to my divorce in the court by myself. My
Oh.
ex-husband didn't even show up.
What a victim.
You know why?
And a hero.
Yeah, because guess what he was doing? He was on vacation with Tim and my brother-in-law, my
Villain.
sister's husband,
Losers.
who clearly values his relationship with Tim over his relationship with me
Clearly.
after everything that I have done for their
Hero.
kids. I go above and beyond to be the fun aunt.
What a great hero. That was a great drama. Mm-hmm. I know, because I got into it. So if you're listening to a drama triangle, you can...
Ooh, wait, this is tea.
Yeah, you can make it more dramatic, being,
Yeah.
putting in your, God, I can't believe that. Wow,
Yeah.
now I'm all in it too. I'm all upset about it as well. That's bullshit.
Right? It is
Yeah,
bullshit.
right.
And I'm like, wait, you're only going to come to Houston to visit Tim? You don't want to come just to visit me?
Aw.
Oh, and you probably want to stay with me and then leave on Saturday night and be like, bye, guys, I'm going to Tim's and hanging out with your ex-husband.
Well, that's bullshit. That's how you know you're in a drama triangle.
Right.
Okay, good one. So I'm going to ask you some
thanks
questions.
to your previous coaching. Calm down now, Where's my water? Thanks to your previous coaching, I did know I was in a drama triangle. So even knowing you're in a drama triangle, it really did help in the moment. I will say that.
It does.
But yeah, for the purpose, coach me out of this drama triangle.
Okay, so your
because
questions.
I'm back in it.
Your questions are, so at the current moment, are you above or below the line?
I am well below the line.
So how do you know?
Because I feel really shitty, and I'm now feeling really separated and isolated from the people that I love, and I'm actually more focused on the people who I don't love in this story.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good
I
one.
don't give two shits about Tim.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a drama triangle, but I'm letting Tim, this character who I don't really care about, it's really affecting my sister, my brother-in-law, and now my nephews. My poor nephews got pulled into this.
Right. And I hear a lot of you're right and they're wrong, and yeah, so a lot of blame. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good one. So you're below the line.
Below the line.
Right. So the story that you told, is there a possible first of all, tell me your story in one sentence. What's the headline to your story? And then is there a possible plausible opposite story? Just possible. You don't have to believe it.
My brother-in-law values his relationship with Tim over his relationship with me, and that affects my relationship with my sister.
Okay, that's the headline.
Yeah.
Okay. What's a possible opposite story to that headline?
Well, they were coming for their company, sponsoring this event, so maybe they just wanted to do this event because it was going to be a really great opportunity for their company.
That sounds possible.
Maybe my brother-in-law and Tim aren't even friends anymore, and it just what came about this happenstance invite.
Could be kind of coincidental. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't even talk to my ex-husband. Maybe my ex-husband isn't even there anymore. Or maybe they're not even friends. Maybe he's not going to be there.
Maybe he's got nothing to do with it. Mm-hmm. Could be.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of stories. I like mine better.
Right. So none of them might be true, or all of them might be true. Mm-hmm. But so recognizing that there's a story and there's possible other stories.
Well, so when I did approach my sister about it, and I did it calmly because I'm like, I'm in a drama triangle. But I did when I did approach her, she actually told me a plausible story that I hadn't even considered because I'm over here thinking like, she clearly is prioritizing this over my feelings. And she was like, oh my God, I didn't even know that was going to bother you.
Maybe she didn't even think it would bother you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. So given there's a lot of possible stories that would explain this situation, can you see that you're suffering holding on to this version of the story?
Oh, yeah. And this actually happened while I was in Mexico, so it affected my vacation, Aw.
Yeah.
Poor me.
Well, so if you're suffering, aw. Mm-hmm. So how are you suffering? Like, what feelings are you having that are less than positive?
Yeah, I mean, even just being consumed by this, you know. Well, I've talked about this on the show before, but I have this deep fear of desertion or an abandonment. And so it kind of was bringing up those triggers, of like, oh my gosh, my sister's abandoning me, because we had this whole, if you think that was a drama triangle, you should have seen the drama triangle when I actually did get divorced. My brother-in-law was in Napa with my ex-husband. Whew.
Sometimes you want to start with small ones. Yeah,
yeah, that one was a big one.
Yeah, so it's making you suffer.
Yeah.
You're so
consumed. I was just consumed with like, I don't want to keep thinking about it, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. And like I said, I'm in Mexico for my friend's birthday and dealing with this drama that I had put on myself.
Right. Well, so Can you imagine how you would feel or how you would be if you were to let go of that story?
Yeah, if I had known, like, oh, a plausible story that was true was, oh, my sister didn't even know this would bother me. I mean, I could have probably been like, how did you know this didn't bother me? You know, but if I would have known that they weren't maliciously picking Tim over me, then I would have felt much better, and that fear of abandonment wouldn't have been so present. You know,
Yeah.
I could have been focused on celebrating my friend whose birthday it was in Mexico. I could have been having fun, you know.
Well, that sounds less painful.
Yeah, that
Right?
sounds way better.
Well, so knowing that letting go of the story, in your own words, would make you feel better, and that it's making you suffer, are you willing to shift?
Well, you know, at this point, I had done some processing, and you know, we talked about it very calmly. So I would say at this point, I am willing to shift, but it did take me probably about 2 weeks.
Yeah, take some time. So some of the questions to make sure that you really are willing to shift are you ready to let go of being right about your story? Like completely let it go. Never talk about it again. Never.
Oh yeah.
Just let it go.
Yeah, that's a good one. Like never. I can't bring this up the next time she messes up.
Well, I don't like the word never. Are you willing to just let go, really truly let it go? And are you willing to give up all blame to do with the story? No,
Yeah.
it's nobody's fault. Nobody
Right.
did anything intentionally wrong.
Right, no one's out to get me. I
Right.
think that's a big story that we
Yeah.
tell ourselves in any drama triangle, is always thinking somebody is out to get me, which, going back to your point of connection, you're never going to have connection with anybody if you have this thought of somebody is out to get me.
Yeah, totally. So if you're willing to shift above the line in the story with the title that you gave it, how do you feel now about the story compared to before?
I feel much better. And honestly, after I had gone through this whole shift, I'm like, this really isn't that big of a deal. Like, I would love the opportunity to see my sister. I would love for her to come visit me, in a way that they could do that is through the company. I'm like, I would
Yeah.
love to see her.
Right.
Of course.
So calm, curious, compassionate, like creative. Now you're thinking of new ways to make it work. Like
Yeah.
that feels good, right?
Yeah, it does. It
Yeah.
feels good.
Yeah. So
Nothing
that
feels good in the drama triangle. That's how you know.
doesn't. Oh, except sometimes there is part of us that loves drama, right? So it doesn't feel good, but in a sort of weird way. Why are we attracted to drama? There is some good feelings we get from it. In a way, they're not healthy necessarily, but we get connection with other people who we're in drama with, right? We get to have an exciting story. There's some adrenaline behind it. We
Right.
get to like that's why we read, People magazine and
Right.
other things like that.
Right.
'cause
We're essentially
attracted
addicted to
drama.
We're addicted to judgment.
Right.
As humans, we are.
Especially when you're around people that agree with you, right? Like,
Right. Because that
like I hate them too.
it feels like connection.
It
You know,
does.
it's like this fake connection of like, misery loves company kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Of like, oh, well, now we're connected because now we're together against the other person.
Yeah, so Brene Brown calls that common enemy intimacy. I love that term. Like, yeah, I hate them too, and it could be something
Yeah.
as benign as a sports game, right? Or is not benign as like hating a certain race of people or religion or something like that.
Right.
So yeah, it's really true that being a drama triangle feels awful, but some part of it is addicted to it. Some part of us is addicted to it as well. So
Well, it's easier. It's easier to stay in the drama triangle and tell that story and recruit, your army of we'll call it rapport and connection, right,
Right.
over misery. I love that common enemy.
common enemy intimacy. Yeah.
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 I love that. And it's the easier option, and that is what our mind wants to do, is take the easier option because it's easier. It requires less work. Your brain always takes the path of least resistance.
Right.
So it's just easier to do that. And emotionally, it's definitely easier, or you think it is, until you can feel like all these, like, my body got hot when I was telling my
Right.
story. It's
It's
like
physiologic. Like our heart rate goes up, our blood pressure goes up, our face turns red. Like we're producing
My neck's
cortisol.
all sore now.
We're literally producing hormones that cause us to run away from an enemy. So and it causes a bunch of health problems down the road living in drama. So many reasons not to. But most of all, because this is a self-development podcast, we're not going to grow below the line. You can't grow below the line. Above the lines where all the growth happens. That's where the openness, curiosity, learning new things, all of that exists. So I'm assuming people listening to this are into that. So it's a really, that was our game. I hope you enjoy it.
Yes. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing. We did this drama triangle at the retreat. I'm like, oh my God, the people need to know about this.
Everybody loved it too. So when we do it, in case you're thinking about, please come to our next retreats in Costa Rica.
And we'll give you details on that too.
It's in November, and we'll be doing some drama triangle stuff, but it's really fun and it's not scary. We're not going to put you on stage and make you do anything. It's all in fun, and you don't have to do it if you don't want to. But even watching other people do it, you learn so much.
You hop around to each character, and everyone in the crowd's like, victim!
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is fun. I think an eye-opening thing for me was, because you can always identify victim mode, but the hero, right, is like this... That one hit. I'm like, ooh, I do that a lot.
Well, yeah, me too. And so I think the word hero, we're used to attaching some good qualities to the word hero, but in this respect, it's that martyr kind of hero that like you said, after all I've done for you, that one, which is so unhelpful.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. I know. And when afterwards, you're like, I can't believe I said that. Wow.
Oh, no, I say that a lot.
Yeah, I know. Well, you do a lot for people. But, well, tell everyone about our next retreat. It's coming up in November. We're going back to Costa Rica. So if you were watching the show and you noticed there were a couple episodes where I had this amazing tan, that was right after the retreat. So tell us about the next one.
Yeah, so we're going back to the same place in Costa Rica. It's really close to the Liberia airport, literally 20 minutes away, so it's very easy to get to. On the Pacific coast, beautiful beaches, so the resort's fantastic, and you'll get to spend a lot of time at the resort. But Meg and myself, if you want to hang out with me and Meg, and Kelly Workman, our wonderful friend who's a master personal trainer, as well as Yaniv Shanti, who's kind of our resident shaman, does a lot of magical, wonderful spiritual stuff. It was a blast last time, so we actually extended it by 1 day.
Yes, the people wanted more. Nobody wanted to leave, so we
now
said,
it's 4 nights instead of 3. So November 6th through the 10th, and Meg can put a link where you can actually sign up. Even now, it's not for a few months, but to get an early bird special, and mostly for women, sort of 40-ish to 60-ish, but we're not checking birth certificates. Anyone who identifies themselves as a woman in midlife would be a great person to come.
And the theme of the retreat is activating happiness. So if you are in drama triangle after drama triangle, this might be the perfect retreat for you.
Yeah.
So we do hope that you'll join us. So, and thank you for joining me. You have a podcast and you have an amazing practice here in Houston. And I would love for you to tell my viewers and listeners where they can find you, either in Houston or online.
Yeah, so Complete Midlife Wellness Center is the name of my business. I'm a gynecologist by training. I'm also a coach, but I take care of women's health, spiritual, emotional, hormonal, sexual well-being. So really helping you to see the second half of life as the best part of life ever. We've got 2 offices in Houston. We also see patients remotely, even if you live outside of Texas. So just check us out online, and we'd love to see you.
Awesome. And your podcast, what's that? And you're on YouTube here.
Yeah,
so
if you look
tag
for my
that
name,
so they can find you.
Susan Hardwick-Smith, Empowering Midlife Wellness is the name of the podcast in YouTube. So lots about women's health and everything to do with midlife and all the good stuff.
And your book.
Triangles.
Your book, too. Tell us about your book.
The book is called Sexually Woke. So about the idea that we can wake up to be our most alive sexual being at any age, even over 50, as I am. So, or for any age, really. So just waking up to our full aliveness as far as sexuality. So all the things.
Wonderful. Many places to find you because you do all the things. So and you can definitely find us in Costa Rica in November of this year. So definitely join us for that. Any way you want to reach out to find Susan will be linked in the show notes. So definitely check her out. Check her out her show. I think we have one coming out kind of soon on
Yes, and Meg's been
too.
on there a bunch of times too. So you can see her there too.
Yeah, it was always fun when we get together.
Yeah, really fun.
This was a really fun one.
Yeah, so go play a drama triangle game. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, we encourage you to do this. It's actually really fun to play out. And afterwards, you just kind of, it makes it more light and just silly so you can get back into, okay, I don't want to feel any of these ways. How do you want to feel? Let's work towards shifting back to that. So thank you once again for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
We'll have you back again for sure.
Hope so. Can't wait.
Well, that's all we got for you today. But of course, if we could leave you with just one thing, it is this: expect good things always, and they will happen.